What's going on, guys? So in front of you, you were looking for a product that people have been demanding be built for a long time. Basically, the ability to reduce sway with technology that doesn't require a tremendous amount of installation. What does that mean? That essentially means that folks who have travel trailers and they're worried about sway, especially when they're going through windier areas, or perhaps they're towing a trailer with a vehicle that might not be the ideal vehicle for towing it, or the trailer's a little bit longer or heavier and they get some type of sway experience when they're out on the road, but maybe not enough for them to go out and buy a new trailer or a new vehicle. This might be the perfect solution for you because, again, people believe that technology can fix most problems now, and this is a piece of technology that allows you to use the existing setup you have in a way that can actually provide automatic sway control. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Okay, so what you're looking at is the CURT True Course Electronic Sway Control System, product number 51202. What is this designed to do? Well, this is designed to actually automatically control sway by triggering the brakes on your trailer whenever sway is detected through this module right here. So in essence, what happens is you bolt this to the A-frame of your trailer, you plug your 7-way connector, the existing one that you're already using, the one that you plug into the back of your vehicle, the one that connects all your lights and your trailer brakes, you plug that into one end of this True Course CURT adapter, and the other end gives you a new 7-way connector that feeds to your vehicle. And what ends up happening here is whenever this detects that sway is occurring, whenever it detects that imbalance occurring that typically can lead to the trailer swaying more and more and more to the point that you can lose control, this does what a person with a lot of towing experience would naturally do, and it initiates the trailer brake to essentially create tension between the trailer and the tow vehicle to pull it back in line. That's essentially the key. A good way of kind of describing how this might work is if I hook a rope to the back hitch of my pickup truck, and I have a buddy of mine drive it through the yard, and I am trying to keep up with him, running with that rope in my hand to where there's some slack. I have the ability to move all over the place. I can run side to side. I can do all sorts of stuff as long as there's slack in that line. Now, all of a sudden, if he floors it, and he creates tension in that line, and that tension prevents me from moving anymore because it's pulling me straight behind the vehicle, I have essentially been controlled. At that point, I can't move the way I might want to move, regardless of what forces are at play, because the truck is pulling me in a straight line at that point, and I'm not going to have the strength to be able to deter the truck from the path it's going. And that's essentially what your trailer brakes do when you're utilizing them to mitigate sway. You're initiating the trailer brake to cause the trailer brake to pull on the tow vehicle, so it creates a connection that is under tension or under load versus a connection to where the trailer can dictate what the truck does. This certainly by no means is going to fix any scenario you could put yourself in just through negligence, through not loading your trailer properly, through not setting up a weight distribution hitch properly, through towing through incredibly windy environments. You can still probably cause sway to occur. And at that point, this is going to be trying to correct that by initiating your trailer brakes to create the tension between your tow vehicle and the trailer, but it may not be able to correct it enough if your setup is so poorly set up that it just can't counteract the forces that are at play. You still got physics that you have to deal with. Let's get this unboxed real quick so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so we have it out of the box. It's a relatively compact yet kind of bulky piece of equipment. It's not huge though. This is absolutely something that could live on your A-frame without interfering with really any other function. You're not going to have to worry about it causing any binding or potentially hitting your tow vehicle, I don't believe. Don't step on it. It has a little don't step on it print right here. And this also can connect to your One Control app. So the One Control app is Lippert's app that allows you to do all sorts of things with properly equipped trailers, whether it is to put your awnings out, whether it's to check your TPMS. It gives you a lot of capabilities through One Control, and this ties into that same system. So basically what you do is you mount it to the A-frame of your RV. Now you want to be sure that the module is level with the top of the frame. And then your holes are 8-inch pilot holes that you're going to want to drill. And then you can see the 7-way connector from the trailer that's already installed on your RV. And then this 7-way connector that is right here goes out to your tow vehicle. So let's get this over to the surveyor and get it installed. Okay, so we're next to the A-frame of the Surveyor, and this is kind of crazy. So I have the B&W Continuum weight distribution set up here, and this hydraulic portion right here actually makes this fit perfect whenever I have the 7-way. Now you may think that there's binding going on here. There really isn't. That little hydraulic tube right there actually is pointing in that direction normally, and it's just barely touching the back of the factory 7-way connector coming from the trailer and plugging into this True Course module. This is pretty crazy. I might try to shift this back just a hair, just to prevent any contact at all, and just to make it easier in case I need to pull the 7-way out. But that thankfully rotates freely, so I can just move that out of the way if I wanted to, if I need to ever remove the 7-way connector that's on here. But this is pretty dang easy to put in place. Okay, so because there's no interference that's occurring here, I opted to leave this where it's at, because the hydraulic lines that go from this to the Continuum hydraulic cylinder right here are pretty tight, and I don't want to move this back any further than I have to. And again, once this is in place, I really don't have any type of interference that'll occur, and I can move this even out of the way if I need to. You can see that I'm doing it right now. This thing is clicking and making all sorts of noises every time I move it, which makes me believe there's an accelerometer inside of it. And you can see the status light clicking on. So we're going to go ahead and get this mounted right here, and then we're going to connect it to the One Control app, and we're going to see how that process goes. Okay, so I have it leveled out. I have both top screws in place. I just need to put both bottom screws in place, and these are self-drilling screws, so it shouldn't be too difficult. And then we'll have it ready to go so we can connect to it with the One Control app. Okay, so we have all 4 screws in place. I can see that the status light is on right now, and yeah, it definitely has something monitoring it whenever it moves. And this is what I was talking about earlier. If I want to remove this 7-way, this piece right here simply rotates out of the way, and I can quickly release the 7-way and plug it back in if I need to. But there's no binding going on here at all, which is also really good because I don't want that to happen. I'm going to have to secure this. I'll probably use some large zip ties, secure this to the under portion of the A-frame, and then this right here is now going to connect to the back of my pickup truck. So the 7-way connection is retained through the True Course module right here. So that's really cool. But next step is to log into the One Control app, pair it to this, and proceed from there. Okay, so I am in my One Control app. I'm going to go to True Course, adding a device. I'm going to search for the device, and there's a sticker on here, and I did find the sticker. It's going to try to find it. Then once it finds it, I just need to put my passcode in. Okay, got my password put in, and it should connect me to this. Now this One Control app is actually connected to both my Brookstone and the Surveyor, but we're going to be using the True Course section specifically for the Surveyor. Hit continue. So now we have an odometer. So that is kind of cool. So it's going to give you an odometer for your RV so you can actually track the mileage that's going on with your RV. And again, just moving this around, I was able to hear it actuating the brakes. So there's not a heck of a lot to it whenever you are connecting it, other than the fact that it's going to let you, again, actuate the brakes and kind of see what's going on with that setup. So now, in my main menu on here, I have True Course, and I have my odometer. Very, very cool. Okay, since this is a pretty automated system and there's not a heck of a lot that goes into it from an app management perspective, I wanted to know what exactly the app does aside from just provide you odometer and how much you're towing your RV. And it says that the app's for system status and notifications, and it does get real-time updates as well. So essentially what you're using the app for is just to monitor the status, if there's any issues, things like that, as well as provide you notifications, and it is updated with the One Control application. But this thing is super cool, and again, for those of you who have been looking for a sway control system to add on to perhaps a hitch or something, or maybe you have a vehicle that does not need weight distribution. So dialing in a weight distribution hitch just for the sway control aspects can be difficult sometimes, if not impossible. And there's a lot of folks out there with longer trailers who really want sway control, but again, don't need weight distribution. And maybe you want both. Maybe you want a system that can actively help mitigate sway from your braking perspective in addition to the sway control weight distribution system you currently have. This is just a great add-on for those of you who are looking for a system that can add an extra layer of security, safety, and practicality to whatever you're towing by helping you not have to think as much about having to actuate your brakes and different things to get you out of a sway situation. And again, my channel sponsor, eTrailer.com, carries this. Right now, I think it's like $399. So it is not a bad deal. It's in stock. And again, this is something that you can just add to your trailer very quickly, very conveniently to add extra peace of mind, especially if you've had those white knuckling moments whenever sway starts occurring with your trailer. Typically in high winds, bad weather, things like that. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel. I'll put a link in the description of this video if this is something you're interested in, and we'll talk to you again very soon.